tight end.
Sure.
That's also a 1A, 1B for me. So just going into it, I think it's obvious that Travis Kelce is the other person that you have to consider for the number one spot. Guess what? I'm a homer. I'm a fan. So I'm putting George Kittle above Kelce. But I'm doing that with the, caveat that basically applies to the entire roster and to the entire season, if healthy. I think George Kittle, if healthy, to me, is the more complete tight end over Kelce. I think that durability is the concern there. And for Kelce, that's his strength. If you look at the two body types, both are freak athletes. Both look incredible when on the field, even with or without pads. But Kelce just looks a bit more solid, a bit more complete. I don't look at him and think, oh, he might take a shot this year and, end up missing a couple of games. Kittle, with his physical playing style and slightly different body type, I feel like that's an inevitability. I think it's a pretty consistent factor for Kittle to miss a couple of games based on the way in which he plays. But when you take into account his blocking ability, his ability in space, his speed, the ability to break tackles, to run people over in the open field, to me, when healthy, Kittle's the number one tight end.
Yeah, I see the argument for Kittle. He's just such a better blogger than Travis Kelce.
Yes.
Way better. And I think people will give, obviously, the durability to Kelce, but then they'll say, like, it's kind of a wash as receivers. Or maybe they'll even give it to Kittle because he's so good after the catch. I think maybe as 49ers analysts, we're a little 49er-centric.
Certainly.
We've watched a lot of Kittle. He's very fun to watch. And, if he were on other teams used differently, he might put up bigger numbers. It's a run-first team. He doesn't get many looks in the red zone, and I will never understand that.
Yeah, he would certainly have more touchdowns on another team.
Yeah, but, I mean, I think people around here undersell Travis Kelce's receiving ability. He's so good, you could argue he's the best target in the league, regardless of position.
I think that's fair.
He's the biggest mismatch in the league. I mean, he's had 5,000-yard receiving seasons in a row. Last year, he had 1,400 yards and 11 touchdowns. He was second in the league in receiving yards. He's a handful, man, and he's so consistent. Yeah.
I don't know that I'd call him as much of a mismatch nightmare as I would Kittle. I think when I think mismatch, I think of Kittle. But if I think of possession receiver, someone that I want to go to on any down for any type of reception, then I think I lean with you toward Kelce. If I'm drafting for fantasy, I'm definitely taking Kelce over Kittle. I apologize to Niner fans for hearing that, but that to me is you're looking at a guy who probably is going to average 8 receptions a game versus someone that's going to vacillate in Kittle. Some games he'll really have a blowout, but he's not consistent week to week. Some of that is the offense, but some of that is the fact that he's not that possession receiver that Kelce is.
Yeah, and I just feel like, 48 touchdowns in his career to Kittle's 14, 5,000-yard receiving seasons in a row. Kittle got hurt last year. I mean, the consistency, the consistent excellence of Travis Kelce as a receiver doesn't get enough credit, I would say. Yep. And I think Kittle obviously should pass Travis Kelce as long as Kittle stays healthy because he's 4 years younger. But I would argue that he hasn't yet. But again, if Kittle was on the Chiefs, he'd be scoring 10 touchdowns a year. I believe that.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely the case.
Yeah. Okay,
right, so you're putting him one, and
you're
putting Kelce one.
I'm sticking with Kelce for now.
Yeah, that makes sense.